Hey, what's up, y'all? So this is going to be my first video, and the way that this series will work essentially boils down to just me just finding really anything that I find interesting to talk about, and it's basically just going to be like ramblings, you know? The reason why I decided to just start doing this is because for the longest time, I haven't really known what to do with my voice. I've just been kind of in like a perpetual cycle of like indecisiveness, and if there's one thing that I know for sure about myself, it's that I have a good voice. And I'm proud to say that, and people tell me that all the time. I'm not trying to stroke my ego, but I'm very proud to have a voice that people find relaxing. And while I do have the ASMR channel, I would also like to provide myself in a non-ASMR artist way. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna continue that channel. I'd like to, but it's just about finding prompts for me to do, or like memes or something. I wouldn't mind doing shit posts. I think that'd be funny. But yeah, this is gonna be the first video. So I guess I'll just tell my story of how I got here to be who I am today as far as my online identity. So it all started back in about 2014, I believe. I had a channel that no longer exists. I believe it was by, it's like Shy Yoshi or something. I was 14 when I made that, and I believe I also made it on, I think, Valentine's Day. I think if it was either like a few days after or before, but around that time I made my original YouTube channel, and I was like super into Mega Man and just other retro games. I don't think the site's up anymore, but I used to play on this little like terrible Chromebook from like 2012, and that thing lasted me for maybe like a solid 6 years before it just finally died. And I used to play emulators on this website, and it was through a browser, and god, that thing was so laggy at times. But I don't know how they managed to make like a Super Nintendo browser work, or yeah, an emulator within a browser. I've never heard of that until like I tried that, but it was for what it's worth, it was pretty good. Although I don't doubt that Nintendo took it down. There was other games too, like Sega Genesis games, NES, Game Boy, etc. That was really how I got like my first dive into like retro games, specifically like Nintendo games. I tried making like a Game Boy Advance emulator work on that, but I think the Chromebook only had maybe at most like 2 gigs of RAM, which, I mean, by today's standards is literally nothing. I wouldn't doubt half of that was taken up by the OS itself. And dude, if there's anything that you guys need to know about Chromebooks back then, I don't know if they're still like that now. I know more of them are like tend to run Windows, but back then, dude, like you literally could not run anything that wasn't like a Google product on that thing. Like, yeah, I think I tried installing Linux. I'm not that computer savvy. Like I know how to use a computer, probably more than most people do, but that pretty much is where it stops. I don't know how to code or anything. But to get back onto the topic, I played a lot of retro games through that, and I didn't grow up with much technology. I did have cousins, and we did share a Wii when I was like maybe 10 or so. Other than that, I didn't really grow up with much technology. So most of like what I know now about games and gaming started when I was about, I want to say 12, 13, maybe 14. And through that, I slowly played more and more retro games. My favorite as of right now has to be Yoshi's Island. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. That game is incredibly fun, and I feel like it has a pretty good difficulty spike. Very fun game, very unique art style. Through that, I slowly started playing more and more games, and it got to a point where I believe in high school somewhere, one of my friends was selling like a 3DS for I think like 60 bucks, and it just had Omega Ruby. I was a part of it because I guess they just didn't want it. And I'm like, hell yeah, dude, I've always wanted a 3DS. And so I bought it off of him. And through that, that's where I discovered a lot of the gems that are 3DS games. Like, there's a lot of very good 3DS games. Like, one of my personal favorites has to be Link Between Worlds. Oh my god, that game is so good. It's criminal how short it is. Even though I know it's like a half remake, half remaster, but like remixed, you know, because the whole 2D mechanic. But like turn into a painting kind of thing, and it is so incredibly fun. It's so incredibly clever how they implemented that into the game. And like Super Mario 3D Land, like the Pokemon games, I love Pokemon Sun and Moon. I loved Pokemon Black 2. I know that's a DS game, but I mean, that's still one of my favorites. X and Y are pretty good. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are pretty good. Pretty short. But that's where I developed like my love for 3DS games. I think one of my favorites has to be Animal Crossing New Leaf. That game, I'd never played an Animal Crossing game before then. When I finally picked up that game out of curiosity, I think it was like 20 bucks at the time. It was like a Nintendo Select, and those are usually like heavily discounted games that have sold really well. And I got Animal Crossing New Leaf from a Best Buy, and I tried it, and oh my god, that game is incredibly endearing. I think there's parts of it that are even better than New Horizons. Yeah, you can't terraform, but I feel like there's just so much character in that game because of like what you can't do. Like through the dialogue, there's just so much more character, I feel, and it's just so fun. I miss that game a lot. I still have it actually on my 3DS, but I wish I could go back and play that again for the first time, because it genuinely felt like nothing else I'd ever played before. It was incredibly fun. But yeah, fast forward a few years after that, and I believe at the start of like 28, or like halfway through 2018, maybe 2019, I bought myself a Nintendo Switch, and it's the same Switch that I have today. I hope one day that I'm able to get like a Switch OLED, or if they ever release like a Switch 2. Highly doubt it, at least anytime soon. Watch that age poorly. I think my first games on there were like Bayonetta 1 and 2, Breath of the Wild, which very fun game if you have not already played it. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I love Mario Kart, as you can see right now. I think it was one of my first games ever. I think my first console ever my mom bought for me when I was about like 7? No, probably even younger. GameCube. And one of my first games was Double Dash, and I've not played it since I was very little, but I remember that game being incredibly fun. The series, I always cherish the series in my heart. Even if there's like a Mario Kart 9, there's a small period of time where I was hooked on Mario Kart Tour, and then they announced they weren't going to do any more updates, and I'm like, well, there's no reason to play this game anymore. There's a lot of games on here that I have that are just really nice. Kirby games, Mario games, Zelda games. Shout out to Tears of the Kingdom. I don't remember it was before or after getting my Switch. I then bought my PC that I have now, and I've used since about 2019. And it's just, dude, there's like a whole window of the world that I've never seen because I had never owned a PC. Like up until I was about maybe 18, 19, I'd never owned a PC, nor like really worked with one in my life because my family never owned one. Even like relatives I had, we were not allowed to use them. I didn't know what the internet was, at least nothing other than YouTube really. One of my favorite games on the Switch, or just like period, has to be Minecraft, because it's one of the first games I'd ever gotten that I'd never played really prior on Switch. And like I'd played it before a little bit on my cousin's like Xbox 360 when the new thing on there, but I just kind of saw it as like a game. I didn't really think much of it, or like what was like unique about it, other than you could build stuff like Legos. And I'm like, you know what, you know what's a game I've never played? I'm gonna pick up Minecraft. And I think I first started playing Minecraft when I think it was the Village and Pillage update. I think if my time isn't off, my memory isn't off, that should have been when I started playing the game. I played a little bit of it, and then I stopped playing. And then I think when the Buzzy Bees update came out, I started playing it a little more, and then I dropped it. And then when the Nether update came out, dude, oh my god, that got me hooked on the game up until about maybe 1.19, and pretty much now it's just been like, I'm playing it on and off since then, really. For anyone that knows lore of, oh, they're gonna drop the shock right now. Yep, there it is. There it is. For anyone that knows the lore of my channel, you will know that for a very, I don't even know how long it was, honestly. It could have just been a few months, a brief period of time. I played like nothing but Minecraft Hardcore, and that's like pretty much how I grew that's pretty much how I got most of my like growth on like Twitch and Twitter. I was a Minecraft hardcore streamer, and that period of time was very fun, and I grew very fast, but holy shit did I get burnt out really fast after that. It was crazy. Before I continue on that though, I'd got Minecraft for the Switch, and then I played for maybe like a year or so, and then I got my PC, and then started streaming on YouTube in 2019, pretty much the same year I'd gotten my PC, and I bought Minecraft Java Edition. And like, I knew you could do mods and stuff on it, but I would have never imagined how many people I'd meet and how many friendships I'd have, and how much fun I would have online through a game like that. Like, some of my closest friends that I still know now were back when I streamed primarily Minecraft, and that was like my main thing. And there's still some people that I know now. Looking at you, Spoo. But I originally started streaming on YouTube, and I would just stream like me playing on like Minecraft servers. I'd have like public, I'd make my own like little public Minecraft servers, and I'd just play with people. Of course, getting griefed and having fun times in between. And then I'm like, you know what? I feel like this is fun and all, but I've heard a lot about this Twitch website, and from what I've observed, it seems like you have a lot higher chance of growing on Twitch with live streaming as opposed to YouTube, which back then, YouTube had live streaming, but God, was it so bad. It was even worse than it is now. I think now it's a bit better. They've streamlined it a bit more, but there's still a lot of things about YouTube chat and YouTube chat culture that just don't hit. It's bland. It feels so like empty, you know? I gave Twitch a shot, I think in about 2020 or 2021. I don't remember. I think it's 2021. And the rest is history from there. Everything I've done from about 2021 to now has been thanks to like streaming on Twitch and the various people I've met on there. As I mentioned earlier, that's where most of my growth happened. And that's also where I got burnt out for the first time with content creation. And it's fun, but like when you see things go up so fast, you set up like such a high expectation for yourself, and it is so destructive, dude. But sometimes it's just something you have to go through in order to like learn a lesson, you know? And I feel like back then, after like that like big spike in growth, and then not as high, but still like some growth, I fell into like, I wouldn't say like a bad place mentally, but my mental health was definitely not the best. I think COVID definitely contributed to it, but like, holy shit, dude. I'm gonna speak a bit about myself like personally. Oh my god, immersion, breaking immersion. And this isn't to like have like a pity party or anything. That's not what I want at all, but I feel like sharing more about myself would be like good for anyone that like cares about me as a creator and as a person. But found out relatively recently that I don't know if it's the same as clinical depression, but I started doing therapy about a year ago, and it turns out that I have she calls, my therapist being she, major depression, or I don't know if it's like a disorder or if it's just like a temporary thing. The way she broke it down is that it's like episodic, and when I started therapy, it was moderate, and at least the last time I spoke about it with her, it was more mild. And if you guys ask anyone that's like close to me about that kind of stuff, I'm sure that they would almost certainly tell you that I've shown like a lot of progress as in regards to that. And I'm not gonna lie, I think 2022 was like my worst year mentally like ever. I gained so much weight, that of which I've lost. I think I've lost like nearly all the weight that I gained in 2022. In 2023 was about me like pretty much battling that. It was like an internal battle, which is like why I didn't stream, and I haven't really streamed like consistently in the past year or so, maybe year and a half. But like that aside, I feel a lot better than I did before, and it's only thanks to the people that have stuck by me and have supported me throughout it, and my therapist, of course, even though she's just doing her job. If it wasn't for people like that, then I don't think I'd get as far as I have gone, like internally, and it feels great. Sorry for my squeaky ass chair. I have noise suppression on my mic, but it still picks up. All that history leads up to now, where I have gone through, since my Minecraft days, I've gone through about, I want to say like at least 2 redesigns. I had like a design that was a bit more like, it was way different than my original design. And then I went through like a space cadet vibe, which I guess I thought I wanted, but I didn't really like, I didn't feel a lot of connectedness with it. Like it felt cool. Like, oh my god, what if I was a space-themed VTuber or something, which by the way, for anyone that doesn't know that's watching, I'm a VTuber, and as of right now, this one's a lot more like masculine. At least, I mean, that probably isn't evident from my little PNG on the screen, but it's based on a much more masculine design. And I'm not gonna have like a redesign, but I'm gonna have like a little tweaking of this current one. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but let's just say like it's gonna be a lot more dog themed, because that's just how I feel. I feel like that's true to my own character, and if there's like one thing that I've tried to like capture in any of like my VTuber designs that I've gotten from people, it's to just find something that is like true to who I am, you know? I've tried kind of coming up with designs that are like complex for the sake of being complex, because that's what I feel like a lot of other people do, at least in the past. That's how I felt. But I'm just a simple guy, man. I'm just a simple dude. I like simple things, you know? It doesn't need to be complex. I'm just, you know, It's okay to have simple designs and all that. It makes it, if anything, it makes it more memorable because you don't have to think too hard about what something looks like. Like Kirby from Kirby's Dream Land. He's just a little circle with like a few ovals on him. Or Mickey Mouse, his little head shape is like 3 circles. But yeah, in that same way, you know, it just makes it more memorable because you don't have to think too hard about the design itself. It's just like, what are some unique attributes about it? I'm really excited for that. I think until I get my assets like in order, which I don't know how long it'll take. Another reason why I'm starting this, like, I don't know, would you call it a series? Or I have no clue. I'd like to do this daily. It wouldn't really be like anything interconnected. It's just kind of like my inner thoughts just being out, like projected out to you guys. I know there's some people that watch for like the streams, but for anyone that like wants to see the inner mind of me, I think this would be a bit more aligned with that. Long story short, that is my whole autobiography as far as the internet. I've been on YouTube for about 10 years now, not making videos, but like on the site. Cannot believe it's been 10 years of me online. I've seen so many creators rise and fall and get canceled, and just some still are popular to this day. And I've always been bad at outros and intros too, but more specifically outros. So like, if you guys want to see more of these videos, if anyone is here, I hope you guys hope you enjoyed the video first and foremost. Thank you for spending time with me, and hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching, and hope you have a very nice rest of your day. Victory for the win. Anyways, bye-bye.